Questions for Coach. Go ahead, guys.
Joe, you guys fought back in the game, the whole regulation, kind of down early, down at halftime. Got a little bit of a lead there at the end of regulation. What's going through your mind as the overtimes kind of keep piling up, and what do you feel like the difference was tonight?
Well, I thought the difference was the hole that we dug in the first half. We had 12 turnovers in the first half, and we're looking at a deficit, 8, 9, 10 point deficit with a 27-18, 9-point deficit at half. And we didn't give ourselves a chance to be in the game the first half with the number of 12 turnovers. 12 turnovers and a number of poor shots at the end of the shot clock. We're not even getting a shot off. So this has been an unlikely theme for us, is just slow starts. The other night at Long Beach State, we had 10 turnovers in the first half and 0 in the second half. We've gone, if you chart down our conference stats for conference games, turnovers in the first half, first turnovers in the second half. Now I understand I work at Cal Poly, but learn by doing shouldn't always have to happen. When we have to learn by video so we can come out in that first half. We made some adjustments. We played a team before. I thought the first half we played like, oh boy, these guys are really good defensively and they're going to hedge the screen. Well, we've known that. We've worked on it. We've improved upon it. We have pocket passes. We have flipping screens. There's a lot of things that we can do. But I think we have to learn quicker in that scenario. And then we come in at halftime. Our backs are against the wall. We make our adjustments. So a lot of times, like tonight, we didn't make any major adjustments as coaches. We just finally did a good job of putting ourselves in position there. Now defensively, you can see our defense and rebounding in the last 2 weeks has improved to put us in a position to win ugly. What I wanted tonight was to win ugly, where we didn't win by hitting 65% three-pointers. Credit to them. I thought that their senior stepped up and did a great. Balu kid, 31. I thought he stepped up and lined up a few of those. He goes 5 for 7 at the three-point line. I thought those seemed to be the daggers that really lined it up at the right time and got a couple of those that really hit us hard off that. I think our matchup zone our monster zone is really coming along. It's taking people out of the rhythm, so we're putting ourselves in a position to win a game against a top team, defending conference champions in triple overtime. So we've made up a lot of ground in the last month. But the ecstasy of winning that game is right there, and the absolute pain of sitting there having to live with that triple overtime loss is right there too. And those are very close 1-point emotions. Now my job is, most challenging part of my job is coming up in the next 48 hours. How long do you hang your head? How poor do you feel about yourself? We just don't have any time for it. You get tonight, you got to try to sleep. You got to get in early for treatment. We got to start looking at the film. We got to get ready for Irvine, an excellent team. It's going to pound inside, and therein lies the beauty of sport. It's the beauty of sport, and it's the pain of sport. Is victory tonight, triple overtime, would have been magic, but pain of losing a triple overtime keeps you awake 3 o'clock in the morning.
Considering double-digit turnovers in the first half and 4 for 13, I think, from three-point range, you guys were only down 9 and scoring 18 points. Did you feel kind of like, hey, we're only down 9 here, considering how bad we played?
Yes, I think that was the mindset of all the coaching staff. Is like, and again, that's when I thought, hey, we have a chance to win ugly. That we turned the ball over a bunch in the first half. We missed a bunch of shots, but it's still a single-digit game. And then we chipped away, and the tide went back and forth, and we finally found a way to claw back in there and take the lead and get the crowd into the game. You could feel that momentum. But they came back and hit 2 threes. We had that 4-point lead. They hit 2 threes in the last 2.5 minutes that really went from a 4-point lead to a 1-point lead, and they hit another 3, and it brought it up to them having a 2-point lead. And then the turnover, the overtime dramas started unfolding for 3 times.
Yeah. In the late in the game, in the overtime, it seemed like you guys were having a hard time getting anything out of the high screen or roll. They were doing a really good job hedging, like you mentioned. Obviously, Donovan Fields wasn't in the game anymore late there, but how much credit do you give to them in terms of their ability to kind of hold you guys out really above the top of the key for most of the shot clock?
Yeah, I mean, Victor Joseph's not a natural point guard. They're running some hard, aggressive denials and ball hedging and so forth. And when Don was in, we were able to split those and get to the paint and get open shots and really make our comeback. We just felt like they did a great job of that. There were other ways and other situations in which I thought that we had opportunities that we did get some good clean looks, but not as many as we did at Long Beach State. I mean, I give more credit to their defense, their quickness and aggressiveness up top there. I don't think we had our best at that position right now, but that's what we went with, and we felt like that was the guy who had the most experience. Isaiah came off the bench and gave us a few minutes and just didn't look like he was polished for the intensity of that game. So we stuck with Vic.
Yeah. Hank continues to make a difference down low, and Alex had a lot of rebounds late and kind of was your down the stretch guy. Talk about the development, or can you comment on the development of those two big guys?
Hank's really understanding rim protection. I don't know how many block shots he ended up having. With 3 block shots, and we need to continue as coaches to develop his offensive game. If we can get his offense game developed in the next couple years, where we can throw him the ball in that block and he has the confidence to score, it's really going to help us. And then Alex, I think, is playing with more confidence and aggression as well. The nice part is that we're trying to get Carlos Garoza, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes a night to get him back into game shape. Because he's another, you could see that he actually made some plays but then dropped the ball out of bounds or got it ripped from it. And that's just game experience. He's only practiced 2 days with us after being out 4 weeks, the knee, and we feel like, that's somebody we got to have getting minutes, so that when we play down the road here and something happens and foul trouble occurs, that we have another guy that's in a potential rotation. But I'm really pleased with Alex's development. I think he had a double-double, maybe his first in his career. Maybe he had one before.
I believe so. I gotta check on that.
Yeah, so watching kids improve, it's the most enjoyable part. But watching them improve and fall, in triple overtime, you just hope that we can keep that improvement, and we can do as much as we did in the last 3 weeks. These kids, the next 3 weeks, I think we'll be right there. But we got to do it in the next 36 hours. We got a game on Saturday night.
2 more questions. One, Marcellus, I haven't seen him on the floor the last couple games. What's his status?
Marcellus he missed about a good week or 7-10 days of practice with the flu. He was just out of it, and during that time, I think that him coming back, he's lost a lot of rhythm. Practices have been hard for him overall, and so we ahead of him, Trevor's been a little more reliable shooting in practice, and Kuba. Is obviously you can see again tonight, so it just comes down to a numbers game right there. And we can tell all the guys, whether you're starting or you're first guard off the bench or you're not in rotation, that's what happens. Injuries, illness, and who's hot. It kind of dictates a lot of that for us.
And then Irvine's coming in. If Davis had both your big men described their athletic 5s and 4s and 5s and good and so forth, and Irvine doesn't no rest for the weary when it comes to big guys and bruisers down low. What's going to be the key on Saturday for you
Well,
guys?
that's why I think it's great to have another option there. I think it's the development. Hank getting better, continue getting better rim protection and rebounding. Alex producing, getting double-double, and then having our third guy out there, Carlos. So we have a 3-headed 5-man that can bang and rebound out there to make that competitive and give that resistance from the post. And then Luke Meikle and Josh are kind of navigating that 4. They both can stretch the court a little bit. We just found that to be our best combination. We've tried a lot of different ways, but we need to have that girth and that grit and that size and that banging with those 3 guys that can play the 5. And then it kind of cuts down Josh's minutes, but it also gives Luke rest and allows him to be strong down the stretch. And you know what? We would just be having a whole different song. We make one more shot here, or they miss a 3 there, I think we're celebrating a victory. So, my job is to make sure, are we moving in the right direction? Yeah. Compared to where we were 4 weeks ago when we were up there to where we are tonight, big strides. We gotta play an A-level game against Irvine on Saturday night.
I'd like to know
early in the season, you guys did go to overtime before. So did that overtime loss that affect like what you were saying to the guys going into this triple overtime game?
You know, one of the things about the overtime games is that you really kind of forget about it, what's ever happened at the other games. You know, I think what our guys were talking about timeouts is that every day in practice we work on what we call special situations. What happens when you don't have any timeouts? What play do we run? And I think what our guys thinking about overtime is like, okay, well, we do this in practice. Sometimes we say, okay, the score's tied 60-60. We're going to play a 5-minute game. And we simulate what it's like to play an overtime game because you practice for an hour or two and you're tired and we say, okay, 5-minute game. That's it. So we try to do a lot of those situations in practice so that when it comes to the game, you're not worried about what happened last time. You're worried about, oh, we practice this all the time. Let's go win it. So, you know, I like everything except the outcome of the game.
Yeah. So what did you see specifically from those practices in this game? Did you see anything?
Well, I thought we managed the last scenarios really well. You know, whether it was getting a stop, and one of the last times when we got a stop, we didn't have a timeout left, but we ran that ball up court and were able to get a look. The second time, we actually had a timeout. Vic had the ball. I didn't want to call the timeout because you have the option to call that, but it would have put us on the sideline with 2 seconds to go. And sometimes the best scenario is I tell guys, you got to go hard and aggressive and let me call those timeouts because sometimes the defense is scrambling. And I thought at the sideline shot that we had, I think that Vic had the guys backpedaling a little bit. So we never really lost the game on any special defensive plays at the end of the game or won it. So, you know, you kind of want to say, all right, well, the real victory for them occurred in the third overtime, during about 3 minutes of that third overtime, where they were able to pull away and get a 6-point lead there.
All right.
Thanks, Joe.